Preparing for marketing automation. Don't get the cart before the horse. Hi, this is Charles Besondy. This presentation has been created for the hundreds, if not thousands, of companies around the world who are right now at this very moment considering the acquisition of a marketing automation platform for their business. This is also for the companies who have recently licensed a marketing automation system and are wondering perhaps what are the best first steps to take for a good implementation of the system in order to ensure a rapid time to value for the investment. This is a vendor neutral presentation. I don't have an axe to grind in this topic. I just want every company who embarks on a marketing automation implementation to have a successful implementation. So here's what we're going to be doing. Here's what we're going to be covering. I'm going to have several questions for you to consider that will help you understand whether you're really ready for a marketing automation platform or not. There is a level of maturity that's required in an organization in order to ensure that you can get the most out of a marketing automation system. If you're lacking some of that level of maturity, then what is the foundation that is going to be necessary for this? And we'll look at that. Very important are the processes that need to be aligned. And when I'm talking about processes, these are processes in marketing and in sales that need to be aligned in order for that marketing automation implementation to go smoothly. We'll look at the importance of data quality. We'll look at how very, very critical having enough high quality content to feed the marketing automation machine. We're going to look at what type of skills and people are necessary within the marketing department now. Critically, we'll look at how to set the right expectations within top management for a marketing automation system. And then what is a step that you can take to not only align sales and marketing effectively once and for all, but to really create a good blueprint for a marketing automation platform implementation. And at the end, I'll suggest some resources for you and ways that you can get some questions answered. As you can see at the bottom of the screen here, I have got some valuable input for this presentation from Marketo and Act-On, who are two leading vendors of marketing automation systems. Also, two experts in the field, Steve Gershik and Joseph Sicaro, and I want to thank them for the input that they provided. You know, it's interesting when we stand back and take a look at our organization, our department, our company, and we must realize that an organization is a system and is perfectly designed to produce the results that it is producing. And if you want to change those results, you have to change the design. A colleague of mine, Richard Epple, originated this very provocative statement, and it's easy to gloss over it, but kind of read it and let it sink in, because there's a lot of truth there. As you look around and say, you know what, things are happening in our organization for a reason, and it's usually because that's the way it's designed. If we don't like the results that we're getting, we have to look at the design. In many cases, this involves looking at the processes that are in play within the organization. Here's another quote that I think is very relevant to our discussion today by Bill Gates. He said, "The first rule of any technology used in a business is that automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency." All right? But the flip side is, the second is that automation applied to an inefficient operation will magnify the inefficiency. Now realize when you're taking steps towards a marketing automation platform, you are very much talking about technology, and you're very much talking about the automation of several processes and everything. So if you don't have your ducks in a row to begin with, don't expect the system to put the ducks in a row for you. And so this is why it's really important to be honest with yourself. You know, we have a tendency to think that just by writing a check for a particular product or a particular technology, or in some cases for a person, that all our problems will go away. And that's certainly not the case. There's a lot of factors, particularly when we're looking at the adoption of a marketing automation platform. Because the question is, yes, we're going to be making a big investment here. It is going to take some time for us to get a return on investment. But can we achieve a fast time to value? And if we look in the mirror, can we handle the truth? Because you know what, it may be that you're not quite there yet. You may be a year away before you should pull the trigger on a marketing automation platform, and maybe you're ready right now. So for the next couple of moments, we're going to explore that topic and help you decide for yourself. So how do you know you're not ready for a marketing automation platform? Well, here's 10 points, and we'll go through them pretty quickly. First of all, if sales and marketing are in the same room together, or crossing in the hallway or something, and if the term buyer's journey is not part of the common terminology, the common lexicon in the company, or if there is no agreement about what the buyer's journey is, then you're going to have some difficulty with implementing a marketing automation platform. Also, if there is disagreement or uncertainty about who the target is for your product or service. And if you're the type of company that's sort of a shoot from the hip sort of firm, and processes don't carry much weight in the organization, you know what, you're going to struggle a little bit to make marketing automation really hum for you. Also, if you're honest, and if you look at your contact list, if you look at your mailing list, your database, and if that hasn't been consistently updated and appended, if it hasn't been updated certainly in over a year, then it is not very accurate, and you're going to have a hard time basing effective email programs and outbound marketing programs that are effective, because your list is incorrect. It's out of date. If you are what I say, loving the spray and pray email strategy, where you'll come up with an idea for an email, a campaign, and then you just throw it out there to your entire list, and maybe you buy some lists and throw it out there, and that's just what you love to do, and all you want to do, then you are absolutely not ready for marketing automation, because it is the opposite of that. Marketing automation is about identifying segments, customizing and personalizing messages, and nurturing groups within your database. So spray and pray has no place within the organization. You know, you could be the type of company that only needs a few big deals a year. And in that case, marketing automation just may not be the sort of gun that you need to have. And so look at that. If there's only a few deals that you need to have, think twice about investing in a marketing automation system. If you're in an organization where your IT department absolutely, totally controls the website and everything that goes on that website uh, and whatnot, you're going to have some difficulty there because when you embark on a marketing automation system and use marketing programs that are run through a marketing automation program, you'll have a need for many landing pages, quick and fast adjustments to the website, and if you're dependent upon IT to do those changes for you, you're just going to get bogged down. Marketing has to be able to control the levers and the content and be able to put things on the web, create pages, etc. If you don't have any content, any marketing content, and I'm not talking about a sales brochure, I'm talking about content that is of value to the buyers of your product and your service, no matter what stage they're in, then it may be premature for a marketing automation program. You'll need to have a library. It doesn't have to be a large library, but you will need to have some content to start with. And we'll get into this in a little more detail. Who's going to drive this thing? Understand that a marketing automation program is relatively complex. It is software, and there's a lot of moving parts to it. Do you have someone within your organization who has the time and some of the skills to, load campaigns, run the campaigns, and analyze the data that comes back? If you don't have the people in the organization, then you will need to look for them outside the organization or hire. And does the boss know what you're up to? The marketing automation system is it's not cheap. It's not the most expensive thing that the company is going to be spending on either, but it does impact both sales and marketing. And as I said, it involves the alignment of many processes and everything. So the boss has to be on board, or else you're going to have a difficult time in making the changes necessary for a successful implementation. So I think, if you're really honest with yourself and kind of look at these 10 items, any one of them, if they're severe enough, could be reason for delaying a marketing automation acquisition. If you have several in place, then just realize they need to be addressed, and it doesn't mean that it's going to take a long time to fix these things, but they are going to need to be addressed, or else you're going to run into some speed bumps and obstacles down the line when you try to implement the system fully and get a good return on investment. Here's a graph that Marketo provided. They surveyed their customer base to try and find out kind of where in a maturity cycle or maturity curve their customers were. And you can see here there are four camps: traditional marketing, demand generation, integrated pipeline, and revenue performance management. Now take a look in the first two, which are pretty common, but is not very sophisticated, that there are over 50% of the customers are in that camp. So they're just at the point of being able to realize the robustness and the richness of features and capabilities that a marketing automation system can provide to them. So it's going to take them, any company that's in those stages, it's going to take a little longer for them to get to to find full value out of the system than companies such that are in integrated pipeline category or the revenue performance management area. And I'm not going to go into any more detail on this particular slide. If you want to study the individual bullets and see whether they apply to you, just pause the video and you can look at them. But we're going to move on. All right, so that's some things to consider to see if you're not ready. But how do you know if you are ready? Well, we got another 10 points. So if you're fortunate and you as a marketing person and a sales manager have a common vocabulary, you know what a marketing qualified lead is, and you may call it something different, but you agree at what point a lead is turned over to the sales organization, and sales has an agreement with marketing what they will do with that lead once they receive it. That's the SLA, or the service level agreement. In kind of mature companies, marketing has agreements with sales. Sales has agreements with marketing in terms of what they are going to do and by when in the handling of leads. You're also ready for a marketing automation platform if your processes in sales and marketing have been aligned to the buyer's journey. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. You're particularly ready if you've been conducting integrated email and web marketing programs already. And you may not be real sophisticated with it yet, but you definitely have got some experience, and you want to get more sophisticated. You've been taking care of your database, and it can be segmented by industry, segmented by title, segmented by business size, that type of thing. You have some content. You never have enough content, but you have some resources that are identified that are constantly creating additional content. Number 6, you can create a landing page without needing a note from your mother. In other words, you can create a landing page and put it on the website without having to rely 100% on your IT department. The sales manager, the people in sales, welcomes the fact that marketing wants to integrate their activities, their campaigns, and their data with the CRM system, and vice versa, so that both sales and marketing have visibility to the buyers, and that the data is becoming integrated. Your top management is definitely on board and on the bus, and they are looking at this implementation of marketing automation in the right light, and I'm going to touch upon that important fact in a minute. You have resources for marketing automation administration, or perhaps you call it marketing operations. Those people have been identified, they have the bandwidth, they have the skills, and they can drive the ship. And now this could be inside the company, it could be a contractor that you hire, or it could be an agency that is providing the marketing automation operation for you. You also, because once you step into marketing automation, you're not just talking about an email here and a trade show there. You're really talking about total campaigns and integration, and so that campaign planning skill set needs to be present somewhere in the organization or in an agency, as well as the data analysis skills. Very, very critical. What drives marketing automation is data, and you have to be able to analyze that data and make decisions based on it. So if you can check off most of these items, you're ready for marketing automation. It's kind of fun when we're talking about software and software platforms. We'll create our own platform for the platform here. What are the building blocks that need to be in place, in order to have a successful implementation of a marketing automation system. And when I mean successful, it's you're able to implement programs quickly. You're able to start getting a return on investment. You're able to use more and more of the rich functionality of these programs, and not just using it as an email distribution tool. All right, so let's look at each one of these. At first is the management buy-in. It's really important that a key member of the management team is on board with you and is your champion. And here's an important thing to consider, because I want you need to work with that champion to manage the expectations within the company and to set the right mission for this marketing automation initiative. Realize that what you are doing is you're transforming the marketing function. You're not applying a technology. You're building an engine for revenue growth. You're not just automating marketing. So those are bigger games to play than just finding an easier way of sending out emails, isn't it? And so this is big stuff. This is a big game, and you must have a champion in the C-suite that understands it, believes in it, and will support you. And here's, in terms of setting expectations, here's some data that shows just how slow or how fast the realization of value can be for a complex piece of software like marketing automation. There's been surveys that show that most companies take over 7 months to reach a return on investment for marketing automation. Now, I'm not exactly sure how those companies measured return on investment, how sophisticated they were in that calculation or not. But you could see that, you know, if management is thinking that they're going to sign the contract for the marketing automation system, and you know, in 2 months, you know, the money's going to be rolling in and everything's going to be you know, automated and slick, and leads are going to be flowing in the door like crazy. That's just not realistic. So according to the focus research here, as we see, that most companies take over 7 months to reach a return on investment. More than half say they haven't achieved the best value possible, even if their return on investment objectives have been achieved. So maybe they had set a relatively low bar for their expectations, but they realize that there's still a lot of features, a lot of capabilities that they're not using yet. And Serious Decisions found that only 15% of marketers believe they are using their marketing automation platform to its fullest potential. This is the reality. These are very robust, feature-rich applications that impact the processes and people in the organization, and it takes time. So if we have management buy-in and the right expectations are set, one of the most important, if not the most important, step to take in building a platform for a marketing automation system is to align the processes. We're talking about processes in sales and marketing here. And that involves looking at the buyer's journey, agreeing what the buyer's journey is, and then aligning ourselves to that. It means integration of marketing automation with what the agreements are between sales and marketing, the service level agreements of what marketing agrees to do, what sales agrees to do in terms of lead flow and follow-up. I've talked a lot about the buyer's journey, and here it is represented in a funnel These are just generic stages. The stages of your buyers will likely be different, or you could come up with different names. These are, as I said, pretty generic. It's important that realize that the buyers are on their own journey from the time that they are unaware that they have a problem and they're unaware of your company to the time that they sign a contract. There's a lot of things that occur and a lot of time that passes in between those two events, and they're primarily driving that process. They have their own process to follow, and they go through it. Now we have our internal sales processes, and it's important for us to align those, as I'm kind of indicating here, that at some point, sales is becoming engaged with the buyer, and we need to know at what point and what tactics sales and marketing apply to each stage to progress the buyer. So if we're not aligned there, if marketing and sales don't agree with what the stages are that the buyer is going through, if we don't agree of what the buyer wants to do at each of those stages, or the type of information that it needs at each stage, we're going to have difficulty. Because part of the beauty of marketing automation is that you can provide the right the right content to the right buyer at the right time. And then we want to align our internal sales process stages to what the buyer is actually doing. Skills. The skills that are required for a modern marketing department in a business-to-business company today is dramatically different than it was 10, 20 years ago. Here's a list of areas, titles, many of which did not exist 10, 15 years ago. So if you are going to have an effective marketing automation platform, you need to make sure that you've got the right skill sets within the company or easily obtained outside of the company. Data. Earlier I touched upon the importance of the quality of your customer and prospect database, or we'll call it our contact list. It's very important, of course, that it be accurate, that the email addresses, the street addresses, the phone numbers, the names, the titles, all those are as accurate and up to date as possible. And if some resources indicate that a business list goes out of date as much as 30% a year. So you can tell that over a couple of years, if you're not touching your database, it's going to be almost completely out of date. There's going to be some information that is wrong in almost every record. So that does not bode well for effective and efficient marketing, does it? Now, I said comprehensive here, and what that means is it's not, you have more information in the database or in each contact record than just the basics, name, title, and company address. Because what you want to be able to do with the marketing automation system, and the beauty of that marketing automation system, is to be able to segment, be able to identify different personas, different company sizes, different regions, even different product needs, and be able to segment by those criteria. So your list needs to be richer. It needs to have more information in it than just the basics. That takes time and is harder to obtain, but through ongoing efforts, through appending with other databases, through collecting information, you can over time get a more comprehensive um, more comprehensive information about each of your contacts. Quantity: do you have enough names? And many companies don't really know. I have one client that was very proud of the 20,000 names in their database. Well, as we started looking at it and looking at the actual titles and everything, we saw of those 20,000, there was only about 2,000 to 2,500 that were actual good prospects, people who could agree to the service that we were offering. Everyone else was at a lower title level, were maybe referral partners or things like that. So there's a big difference between 2,500 and 20,000 when you're trying to do effective outbound marketing. So the quantity of names, do you have enough? And if you don't, you'll need to put programs in place to build your opt-in list. Personas. Knowing the buyer intimately is a sign of marketing maturity. As I talk with companies, I can immediately tell those that are a little more mature than others because they have more information, they have a deeper understanding of who their buyers are. Other companies will just speak in kind of generalities, and well, we're selling to the enterprise. Okay, that level of lack of maturity is going to get in the way of an effective marketing automation implementation. Because, as I said before, the beauty of a marketing automation system is that you are able to personalize and customize and deliver the right content to the right person at the right time, and that makes it much more effective. Speaking of content, as we know in marketing, content is serving two purposes right now. It is both the bait and the fuel for engagement with our buyers. What we have to realize is that content is more than just chum in the water. We have to create the content for a specific persona and for a specific stage in the buyer's journey, because we know that depending on where they are in that buyer's journey, they're going to have different needs for information and different needs for content. If they are just trying to understand and kind of scope the problem that they think they have, that is a very different type of content than if later on in the buyer's journey they are trying to decide which vendor to go with. The level of content, the type of content is dramatically different, just as an example. Now, what's important to know is it can be overwhelming. You might say, my gosh, I've got to create the Library of Congress here in order to have an effective system, and that's not the case. You can start very simply. Always opt for quality over quantity, though. Create good content. Create content that is easily digestible and gives value to the buyer, and frankly doesn't oversell yourself. Realize where they are in the buying process and create the content appropriately for that stage. And the last point to make here is You know, content takes time and skills and money to produce. So you want to have a stable of people, both in the company and outside the company, that are capable of generating content for you. Now, it may need editing and polishing after that. That's fine. But who can at least originate it, and then hand it off to marketing for the final touches. But you need a stable of people that you can rely on to do this. Now, the other thing is you will have to have a budget. I think it's interesting to look back on marketing budgets, 5 years ago or so, and content probably wasn't a line item, and now it's a very large line item for print, video, infographics, on and on and on. There is a you need to have a sufficient budget to generate your content. Now, I was talking a minute ago about aligning or creating your content for the stages of the buyer's journey, and here's an example. So, in the funnel, we see some generic stages of a buyer's journey. At the top, people are unaware they have a problem and they don't know who you are. At some point, they become aware of who you are and the category that you're in. They may now become a little more interested in you and begin to follow you. Then usually something happens and there's a problem in the company. And at a point later, they say, all right, this problem is severe enough. We have an agreement within the company that we're going to solve that problem. Then they look at possible solutions, and then they will, usually at this point they reach out to the different vendors. Vendors produce proposals. They will then review and understand those proposals. They will come up with their preferred vendor or preferred solution. They make the decision, negotiate the contract or the deal. That is a pretty common buyer's journey in a complex B2B purchase decision. Now, what's important about this is indicated on the left is the buyer persona. What you could have different types of buyers, different and influencers along the way that you need to be providing content for. So knowing who those, identifying the persona is very, very important. And then create the content that is appropriate for the persona and for each stage of the buyer's journey. And that way, each piece of content is part of its objective is to help that buyer not only meet the requirements or for information at that stage, but to help them move to the next stage, to help them progress to the next stage. So this then helps clarify the objective of each piece of content. You're not just creating content for the sake of creating content. So once again, let's kind of refresh ourselves with keeping our goal in mind. And we have our quote again from Bill Gates, that the first rule of any technology used in a business is that automation applied to an efficient operation will magnify the efficiency. This is what we want to accomplish. This is why getting our ducks in a row before we jump into the marketing automation technology is so important, because if we don't, and we apply that automation to an inefficient operation, it's only going to magnify the inefficiency, according to Bill Gates. Recognize, too, that you are building an engine for revenue growth. You're not automating marketing. You're playing a bigger game. It's a bigger picture. I'd like to suggest there is one almost foolproof way of aligning sales and marketing, getting a measurable plan for how a revenue number is going to be achieved, and setting the stage for a marketing automation platform. And this is called a funnel plan. And realize this is you can't see the details on this image here, and it's really not important that you do. Just know that on one page, this process, which is a three-day process, in three days, and working with your company, you will have a one-page marketing and sales plan that includes your objectives, the strategy, the business strategy. You will have identified the stages of the buyer's journey. You will have the funnel math. You will understand mathematically the metrics involved in how many names, how many buyers do we need to have at each stage of the funnel at a specific time each month in order to generate the number of deals that we need to have to reach our objective. And furthermore, we're going to then have a clear vision for what are the tactics, both sales tactics and marketing tactics, that need to be employed at each stage to bring the names into the funnel and progress them efficiently and effectively through the buyer's journey. Once that is in place, then you can look at, okay, we know what needs to occur here to reach our revenue number. Now, how can the marketing automation platform help us do this as efficiently as possible? And since we've already mapped out our tactics, we pretty much have, at a high level, we have our programs and campaigns kind of in mind. Now we can take those and implement them into the marketing automation platform. This will also help you when you have an understanding of what is necessary from sales and marketing to achieve the revenue number. It's also going to give you some ideas of the functionality that you need to have in a marketing automation system. How many features do you need, or what features do you need? How robust does the system have to be? You're also going to identify some gaps in your organization. Say, oh my gosh, we just, as an example, you might say, my gosh, we just have agreed that doing events is a critical component for our marketing program in the next year. And you look around the room and you say, you know what, we don't have really strong talent in event promotion and event production. So we need to find that, or else we're not going to be as successful. So the funnel plan solves a lot of problems in terms of identifying how a marketing department can work with sales efficiently and effectively to get to a revenue number. It also, because it aligns sales and marketing so effectively and gives you a common terminology, a common world view, it also makes it possible to then step into the implementation of a marketing automation system with a lot more confidence and a lot more chance of achieving success quickly. So thank you very much for joining me on this video. I do hope that there's been information here that will be helpful to you. Feel free to reach out to me for questions or suggestions for other resources. I'm happy to talk with anyone at any time. And this is Charles Besondy. Thank you again. Bye-bye.